you may wish to prop up somebody who has no support. I mentioned it, they're likely to be in the near future. You're likely to get somebody being propped up, claiming leadership of UPC or whatever, and you get some people supporting it. But does this person or these people who went to see the president can meet anybody. Anybody who the president invites, the president is free to meet. But if you're meeting somebody who has no support on the ground, who has no ability to move the ground, who has no ability to influence issues, what are you meeting for? This is for showing off on. Such a person cannot effect anything amongst the voters, amongst the populace. So it's better you deal with people who have substance on the ground. And that is why we go for elections. And that is why I already put myself for this election. I know I was not likely to be in the top 2, but in racing, where I come from, the background of racing, a podium is very important. Somebody will fight for that podium. You're not winning, but you're number 3. You stand there proudly, and you take the accolades. Because what we train our kids in the racing world is, you must finish the race. It doesn't matter if you had a setback, if something has gone wrong, you have a mechanical failure, a breakdown, somebody knocks you down, get up and finish the race. So I, as Akena, I had to do the same. I had to go through and finish the race on behalf of others, but I should have been on the ballot. And had I been on the ballot, you will not ignore me. But even if you try to ignore me, I'm telling you, I'm not going quietly. We wait and see. If I can be ignored, well and good. If not, I will still be here.
How would you accept to?
I have never refused to meet anybody. I have met people. I've met the president. When I met Bobi in my home, people went wild. But I met Bobi. I went to Magere, I met Bobi. I am free to meet anybody, and what people should understand, for me, Uganda is ultimate. More than UPC, Uganda must win. If there's a win-win issue of meeting the president, I'll be the first there. Without any doubt, without any qualm, mine Uganda must win.
Would you take on any responsible ministry just in case you are appointed?
My friend, you're going far ahead of yourself. Very, very far. Yes, sir. UPC, if you reduce our policy issues, can we have an improved standard of living for the citizens of Uganda? Whether it's in education, we want better education. Whether it's health, we want better health. Agriculture, we want better production. Need the support of government. Those who without government are left to the winds. Those are the people we speak for. Those are the people, the wretched of the earth, as they describe. Those who are vulnerable. Those what I want my leaders to speak for. And on the policy platform, we have the strongest platform. I challenge any political player, any political party, any player, compare the UPC manifesto with any other manifesto. Ours is above board, because ours is practical, realistic, and has a net effect on the lives of people. So that's what I expect from my leaders. I was strongly advised not to leave Lira. This was when we went to look for the ballot material. After 2 p.m. it had not reached the polling stations. So we were around Boroboro and we were accosted by a mob headed by 2 of these assistant RCCs, where one of them decided to pull a gun and threaten us. The 5th Division commander was coming from Acholpi. He was driving, even lost his escort to reach where we were. Yet, less than 2 kilometers, you have thousands of these UPDF marching day and night, up and down. But somebody has to come from Acholpi. And then they strongly advised me not to leave home. That is the house arrest which I was under. Our question was, where is the voting material? We contacted the EC. EC said no, police is escorting it. We had the RPC there. RPC, where is the material? He does not know. The army, you don't know. Now, voting material disappears at 6:45 in the morning. 2 p.m., it is not yet in a polling station, less than 2 kilometers from where it left. Honestly, where is it? Where is it? In the course of my going, one of my chairmen who has been a pillar, and this is a case where now they let us start voting without the machine. And we agreed with the EC that if we're not using the BVK machine, our agents should be 1 meter from yes, 1 meter. At this polling station, they removed their agents, they put them 10 meters away. So we come back to the polling station. My chairman, a strong pillar, comes and says, no, please, let it go, let it go. We're okay, it's going to be okay, let it go, please, let it go. And I look at him, I see where he's looking. Down there, about 100 meters, there are 2 soldiers just standing there. They've removed our people. People come with these funny, the slips. They just vote. At my polling station, one young, I'll say I want to be soldier. He comes to me, challenges me. Who are you? I failed to answer him. I have voted here, I've been representative here. The fellow does not know me. His assistant is the one who comes, laughs. A lady comes and says, no, he's here. Then he leaves me, goes to Betty. Who are you? Again, the assistant comes and says, no, she's here. With the yellow register. I don't know if people saw the yellow register. There's a different yellow register from the EC one. This person was owning the polling station, but he doesn't even know the person who is there. For me in Lira, I always tell people, you come to Lira, find any border, find anybody, say, well, you want to come to Jimmy's place. They'll find you. They'll show you. At this polling station, the one who is trying to own the polling station does not know Jimmy Akena. Honestly. That is an election. So, yes, I was under house arrest. Did I run away? No, I ran to where I was needed. I escaped where I was and I went to where I was needed. I went to the tally center because they were trying to rig. We stopped the issue of false declaration time and time again. The whole night I stopped the false declaration. I was not in a state to be there. I would have been in bed. That's why I said where people prefer to tweet, I was in bed. But when they were trying to steal this vote in a jury, I had to get out of bed and defend it with everything I had. It's defending on the goal line. But I did it not only in a jury, I did it in Lira. I did it in Apache. I did it in Kwania. And that is an election, 2026. That's why I said people should not talk about Obote in future. Yoweri Museveni, because of Muhoozi, should not have any opportunity to bring any dirt on the name of Milton Obote. As far as the election is concerned, he cannot. Muhoozi has cleared Obote's name properly once and for all. So am I going to exile? No. If they want to put me in the ground, I have told my people, bury me at the feet of my father. But am I going to exile? No. Am I going to be quiet? No. Am I going to speak the truth? Yes. I have no apologies for the truth. Whatever you do, however much you try, a lie will never be the truth. It will never. Whatever you say, do, however long you wait, a lie will never be the truth. Even if I die today, the truth will remain. I don't fear it. The truth will remain. The truth will prevail. But I don't want a Uganda where we're going to be treated like some sort of, I don't know. Is this some sort of dictatorship which is unmasked? If you're going to be a dictator, you come out openly now. But don't start threatening behind officers and whatever. Actually, I honestly feel sorry for the president in this circumstance. In the case that he has been a general, he has been a hero to Muhoozi. But he has to be a dad at some point. Right now, Muhoozi needs a dad who can tell him the truth, to behave like a human being. I pray for Uganda that that happens. Otherwise, we have somebody with so much authority who has run amok. And I hate to think if there's nobody to restrain, what will happen to all of us, or those of us who are ready to speak our mind and pray for the future of Uganda? Yes. Democrat. However bad the process, it is better than no process. However flawed, when you have a chance at least to get your ideas across, or people are able to get out and exercise, for me it is better than none at all. But yes, definitely, this does not augur well for democracy, does not augur well for transition. In my own case, I know my strength is far bigger than what it is. As UPC, we come with 12 members of parliament. We should have had much more than that one had I been on the ballot. Had we had the full opportunity to organize, had the resources which were being entitled to been made available. But these, what the president calls unchristian, what I call diabolical, and their behavior is satanic, do not want that one. They think, and this is to borrow the president's phrase, the president said he killed his animal. These people now think that this animal is theirs to eat, theirs to take to part. So I can't be quiet. We can't allow this to happen. Me as a Democrat, we need the people of Uganda to enjoy the fruits of being a citizen of Uganda. So, does it augur well transition? No, there are people who they don't want to be part of the transition conversation. I was going to be there whether they wanted or not. If I had my votes, which I expected, definitely I could not be ignored. But now they want to diminish me like somebody who is irrelevant. Fine, you may think I'm irrelevant. But I'm still able to pull off some issues which have been there in difficulty. And I want to recognize and thank that, you see, in this election, my game plan was to get enough votes to deny a 50+1. And if you understand the impact of that one, you go for second round. Second round will be the top 2 candidates, but you still have to talk to the other candidates in order to get your the victory. So, dialogue, transition, that you create the transition or you create the dialogue by default. You will be in a situation whereby you have to talk to one another. You can't just think that you can do it alone. By locking us out and by doing this sort of thing, they want to make it look like they can do it alone. By increasing the numbers and they have a supermajority, is to create that issue that they can do anything, they can amend the constitution without the input of other players. That is the purpose behind all of this. To create these artificial numbers to be able to create an artificial reality. But there's a reality which you're not going to ignore. At some point it's going to give way. If we're not ready to talk to each other, it's not going to happen. That's why I said earlier on the issue of iPod, I was the first person to say that even if it meant for a cup of tea, I'm ready to go. Because when you're able to have a cup of tea, you're able to talk. Now there are people who have never talked to each other. I cannot even sit in the same room. When are they going to start talking? At what point? At least in my case, I've demonstrated it. Realistically. We have gone further. There was an issue, raised the issue about the cooperation. We existed at some point. At this point, it's at a very low ebb. Let nobody deceive you. Yes, it's at a low ebb. But I'm a realist. For me, Uganda must win. Uganda is above all. There are those whose loyalty to Museveni is above Uganda. My loyalty to Uganda is above everything. The only thing which I can put above Uganda is God. That's why we have a motto for God and my country. But I will not compromise anything to do with my country. The leadership of IPOD is supposed to be 6 months rotational. When NRM assumed the leadership at the signing, that would I think around May 2022, they did not hold any meetings. So there are a lot of things which got stuck in the process. Now you asked about the funding. The funding under the law is for political parties representation in parliament. But during elections, the funding is done equally. So for the 2021 elections, the funding for political parties across the board was 10 billion. That 10 billion was supposed to be shared equally with the political parties with representation in parliament at the time. Those parties were 5. That is NRM, UPC, DP, FDC, and JEMA. PPP had not yet come. NUP had not yet come. 2021. NUP came in 2021. So the election leading to 2021 was 10 billion to 5 parties. That was the money to be shared. When we had our processes which led to the increased funding, which was negotiated first under the UPC chairmanship, then followed by the DP, was how to strengthen parties. Now there's supposed to be extra funding to political parties for meetings, statutory meetings, for party offices, which were brought in by President Museveni, and different aspects. That increased the funding to political parties to 35 billion for a year. But how the funding was supposed to be released has never been effected. When they tried to effect it, they effected it with malice. That's when they now try to lock out NUP from the funding. And they ended up locking out all political parties. For the 2026 election, the funding which was agreed in Kololo across political parties was supposed to be 27 billion, which meant that all political parties, UPC was entitled to 4.5 billion. That one, I did not expect it, and because the circumstances and the clarity behind it was not there. But the 2 billion, which had been cleared before, which had been discussed, which the president said it was morally wrong of NRM for not releasing that money. The fact that we've gone through 2026 election without that money again being released, I raised in parliament, it was diabolical. Now I'm saying it is satanic. It's satanic, because when they're doing this one, you find them giggling, laughing as if they did not, that the kids in the park joking, and they don't know that they're messing things up. They want to get a situation maybe when the country is now on tenterhooks, and that's when they'll be happy, because somebody thinks he has the force to beat and bully people into submission. You need to have sense. You cannot beat sense into somebody. If somebody doesn't have sense, it will not be there. The funding which was agreed in Kororo across political parties was supposed to be 27 billion, which meant that all political parties, UPC was entitled to 4.5 billion. That one, I did not expect it, and because the circumstances and the clarity behind it was not there. But the 2 billion, which had been cleared before, which had been discussed, which the president said it was morally wrong of NRM for not releasing that money. The fact that we've gone through 2026 election without that money again being released, I raised in parliament, it was diabolical. Now I'm saying it is satanic. It's satanic, because when they're doing this one, you find them giggling, laughing as if they did not, that the kids in the park joking, and they don't know that they're messing things up. They want to get a situation maybe when the country is now on tenterhooks, and that's when they'll be happy, because somebody thinks he has the force to beat and bully people into submission. You need to have sense. You cannot beat sense into somebody. If somebody doesn't have sense, it will not be there.